they are watching us. So who exactly is they? A secret government agency? A rogue military division? Or something else entirely? Over the last few years, right here in America, 8 brilliant scientists have either died under literally impossible circumstances, or they've just vanished, gone, without a single trace. Now, the sheer number of lost minds is tragic, sure, but what's truly terrifying, it's the fact that every single one of them might be linked to one highly classified project. And their final words? Well, they point to a seriously chilling reality.
Let's dive into this. Welcome back to another explainer. Now, before we really get going, I've got to give you a quick warning. Officially, none of what we're about to cover has been proven in a court of law, but when you start looking at the evidence pulled together by internet investigators, leaked internal documents, and testimonies from actual former insiders, a really dark picture starts to emerge. It genuinely seems like some of America's absolute top researchers stumbled onto something the world was never meant to know about, and one by one, they were silenced. Guys, this is the story of the Silent Project.
Part 1. The Vanishing Scientists, a Trail of Disappearances. So to really understand this whole thing, we have to rewind to 2019, to an area near a highly classified research facility deep in the Nevada desert. This is where a massively respected scientist named Dr. Alan Mercer was suddenly reported missing. Now, if you read the official police report, they casually just write off his disappearance as being due to personal stress. But there is a massive, glaring problem with that narrative. According to Alan's closest friends and colleagues, he was literally in the absolute best phase of his life. And crucially, right before he vanished, he handed his sister a heavily encrypted hard drive.
And get this, there was only one thing on that entire drive, a single folder, and the name of that folder, Not Human. Just let that sink in for a second. Now, here is where the cover-up becomes incredibly obvious. Exactly 30 seconds after Alan's sister reported this drive to the authorities, police raided our property and confiscated it. And since that day, no one has ever laid eyes on that folder again. But you know, the story doesn't stop there, because Alan Mercer was just the beginning.
Part 2. A terrifying pattern emerges. Enter Dr. Emily Carter. The danger definitely escalated with our second victim. She was a pioneering quantum communication researcher, working on the absolute cutting edge of physics. She wasn't dealing with personal stress at all. She was dealing with the very real fear that something was actively hunting her. The danger around her was escalating rapidly, and she knew it for a fact. Just 48 hours before she disappeared, Dr. Carter left this incredibly eerie voicemail for a colleague. "If something happens to me, don't trust the official story." Her voice was breathless, paranoid, and just utterly terrified. Exactly 2 days after she left that message, her car was found completely abandoned right on the edge of the Pacific Coast Highway. Now get this, there was no blood, 0 signs of a struggle, and absolutely no body to be found. The only thing sitting on the passenger seat was a partially burnt notebook, and the very last entry written on those surviving pages was just 2 words: signal received. I mean, what kind of signal? Was she actually intercepting some sort of alien contact? Or was this a highly classified military transmission she just wasn't supposed to hear? As you can imagine, this discovery caused internet forums to just absolutely explode with theories. But right before anyone could really piece it together, the pattern struck again. Section 3. The Locked Room Death of Dr. Nathan Cole. Now, Nathan wasn't a physicist. He was a top-tier cyber defense expert. One morning, hotel staff knocked on his door. No response, and they quickly realized the door was locked from the inside. A classic, literal locked room scenario. When the police finally forced their way in, they found Nathan dead. It was an impossible death, and it immediately sent the entire online conspiracy community into total overdrive. But here is the insane detail that the police desperately tried to brush under the rug. When they found his body, his laptop screen was just continuously flashing this haunting message: "You should have stopped." Despite this glaringly obvious threat staring them in the face, law enforcement quickly dismissed the whole case and officially declared his death a suicide. They totally shut the book on it. But civilian researchers, they noticed something the police conveniently ignored. 11. That is the exact number of minutes inexplicably missing from Dr. Cole's hotel's security camera footage. The camera out in the hallway recorded perfectly all night long, except for an 11-minute gap exactly at the estimated time of his death. On the internet, these missing minutes have become infamously known as the Black Window. Which leads us to the ultimate question, right? What actually happened in those 11 minutes? Who went into that room, and how did they get out of a door that was locked from the inside? Okay, we are going to get into the massive midpoint twist in just a second, but first, agar आपको ये mystery solve करने में मजा आ रहा है, तो भाई लोग अभी के अभी like button दबाओ. Share this explainer with your friends. Our channel को subscribe जरूर करो so you never miss these deep dives. We are exposing the truth here, and your support means everything. All right, take a deep breath. Let's look at the dark secret tying this whole thing together.
This right here is the key. According to thousands of deleted archives and leaked emails, every single one of these scientists was part of a massive shadow network. The codename, Project Orion. Officially, the government claims this project simply does not exist. No way, not real. But the leaked documents repeatedly mention one specific phrase over and over: non-human intelligence. Some folks believe Orion was a straight-up UFO reverse engineering program. Others think these scientists were decoding deep space signals and accidentally activated something they just couldn't control. And we only know this because of the one guy who actually made it out.
Part 4. The Lone Survivor. Daniel Reeves speaks. Let's fast forward to 2024. A guy named Daniel Reeves, who was a former researcher for this alleged network, appeared on an obscure dark web podcast. His face was totally blurred out and his voice was heavily distorted. I mean, he was risking his life just by turning on his microphone, and he had a terrifying message for the world.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute horror of what these scientists actually realized. He said, "We weren't studying them, they were studying us." He claimed all their calls were tapped, they were constantly being monitored, and researchers who asked way too many questions were just intentionally being silenced. And wouldn't you know it, shortly after he said this, the entire podcast was permanently scrubbed from the internet. Gone.
But right before that podcast was deleted, the viewers who were watching live witnessed a truly chilling end to the interview. Daniel was literally mid-sentence when he suddenly just stopped talking. Dead silence filled the audio. Then, he leaned into his microphone and whispered, "They found me." The screen instantly went pitch black, the call disconnected, and Daniel Reeves has never been seen in public again. Section 5. The Files. The 2025 Dark Web Leaks. Now, if you thought the cover-up was complete, you'd be wrong. Because in early 2025, massive leaks just started flooding Reddit and dark web forums. Dozens of classified screenshots surfaced, and on every single document, there was this stamp featuring a black triangle right alongside the words, "Eyes Only." These leaks detailed exactly what the Orion scientists were observing up in our skies, and honestly, it completely breaks our understanding of reality.
The documents prove these researchers were tracking unidentified aerial objects that completely defied normal physics. I mean, we're talking about objects making perfect 90-degree turns at supersonic speeds. They were demonstrating instant acceleration without any visible propulsion system whatsoever, and showing the ability to just completely disappear from military radar at will. It's wild. But just as quickly as these leaks started popping up, they stopped. The anonymous leaker abruptly vanished. And the police? Yeah, they closed that missing persons case, citing insufficient evidence. Of course they did.
Part 6. The Silent Site. The Final Victim. And this brings us to what is probably the most disturbing chapter of all, involving the final scientist, Dr. Isaac Monroe. Shortly before he died, Dr. Monroe somehow managed to send out a set of coordinates. It was a digital map pointing to an abandoned military zone hidden deep, deep in the Utah desert. Locals out there refer to this forbidden zone as the Silent Site. Monroe's phone records were mysteriously wiped clean, but investigators managed to recover one single audio clip from his device. In that recovered clip, all you can hear is the sound of Dr. Monroe breathing super heavily, like he's hiding in some tight, confined space. Then, he whispers this incredibly cryptic final sentence. He says, "It's not technology." Immediately following those words, there is a deafening, loud metallic sound. And then, pure silence. 2 days later, Dr. Monroe's body was discovered. So the crucial point is, let's compare the official story with reality here. The authorities stated the official cause of death was heart failure, but the undeniable reality? Dr. Monroe was only 42 years old. He was in peak physical health. He had absolutely zero history of heart disease in his family whatsoever. The blatant discrepancy between the official police report and the actual medical reality blew this cover-up wide open. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that someone was orchestrating these deaths.
So, I leave you with this final question. Are these really all just coincidences? Think about it. 8 brilliant scientists, all working on secret data, all suffering impossible disappearances, erased footage, and sudden, inexplicable deaths. In every single story, there is this pervasive sense of dread, a real fear that they had witnessed something humanity was simply never meant to see. Is America actively hiding a reality-altering secret project? Let me know your theories down in the comments, guys. I'll be reading every single one.
Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and seriously, brace yourselves, because the story we are covering next time is even darker. I'll see you then.